When I first saw the whole Randy Arozarena going up to Cal Raleigh with his hand outstretched and then getting rejected, I thought that it was nothing. Maybe a private joke, misunderstanding, or potentially even just interference from the crowd drowning out what should have been a normal conversation. But now, I think it's pretty safe to say, based on what Randy himself said after the game, which the US won 5-3, that this indeed might be a little more serious than we initially thought. As you can see in the video, he comes up, pretty normally asking for a handshake or something of the sort, and then Cal just flat out rejects him while saying something in the process. Randy just kinda nods and then digs in. Like I said before, I didn't think this was anything big, but in an interview with Mexican journalist Luis Hilbert after the game, and translated here pretty well from what I could find by Master Flip on Twitter, he said, in Spanish first, quote, "The only thing he should be thankful for is having such great parents. He's very well educated, thank God. I was lucky enough to see them a few days ago at the hotel, and they came over to greet me, gave me a big hug, and were genuinely proud to see me again." He then transitioned to Cuban, with the rough translation coming out to, what he has to do is F off. Then, in specifically Mexican vernacular, go to hell. And then finally, in English, that fake-ass good to see you he hit me with, he can shove it straight up his ass. I'm out. Then, just based on his body language as he walked away, it did seem like he was at least in part peeved. It'll be interesting to track how this ends up shaking out in the Mariners clubhouse come opening day in MLB. But anyway, moving on from this controversy to the game itself, the contest was easily the most anticipated of the tournament so far in the Western Hemisphere, with Daikin Park in Houston absolutely packed to the gills with engaged fans. And they got something to cheer for early, when the big dumper himself struck out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first. In the second, we would see one of the best relay throws possible on a baseball field, when Jarren Duran fielded this ball on the warning track off the bat of Bryce Terang, then threw a strike to Nick Gonzalez, who made a one-hop throw right on the money to Alejandro Kirk. Little side note here, but man, Roman Anthony sure did not have too much get up and get him on that play. After an out on the bases registered by Mexico this time in the top of the third, when Duran singled to right field only to see Joey Ortiz get thrown out at third base by Aaron Judge, we finally would see somebody break through on the scoreboard, with the captain himself coming up with Bryce Harper on first and launching his second home run of the tournament, an opposite field blast that made the score 2-0. 3 batters later, Anthony would redeem himself for that early base running situation with an absolute tank of his own, a 417-foot shot launched out at 106 miles an hour. I think it was at this point a lot of people just kinda wrote this game off as another United States rout in the making, but Mexico was not ready to roll over, narrowing the United States lead to 5-2 after a Duran homer to left center off of Matthew Boyd, then Joey Meneses pinch hit RBI single that had some crazy English on it, going off of Gold Glover Terang at second, and our margin would get even more narrow in the 8th, when Jarren came up and crushed his 3rd home run of the tournament so far, and 2nd off of Boyd on the night. Unfortunately for his team and their fans, Alejandro Kirk would later pull a Game 7 of the World Series and ground into an inning-ending double play. It's worth mentioning at this point how good Mexico's bullpen was on the night as well, as besides Jesus Cruz, who gave up all 5 earned runs, the team combined to throw 6 2/3 innings of subsequent scoreless baseball, with 8 strikeouts and just 2 hits given up. They would have one last chance in the 9th when Garrett Whitlock was brought on for the save, and things began pretty well, with Meneses getting his 2nd hit and as many at-bats on an opposite field single, before pinch hitters Alejandro Ozuna and Julian Ornelas struck out. This left it all up to Alek Thomas, and he did indeed make good contact, grounding a ball up the middle at 95 miles an hour that was fielded very nicely by Terang, who then popped up and got him at first, ending what was a hard-fought game, one that should give, in my opinion, both sides some encouragement for how their squads are capable of dealing with adversity going forward in the tournament.
Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.